Hello to everyone who is just joining us for today's webinar. We're going to give it another minute for the people that are just joining before we begin. Thank you. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's webinar, where you're joining us from today, whether it's good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy days to join us. My name is Catalina Powell, and I am Global Director at THE Counselor for BMI Times Higher Education. And today we bring you a brand new and exclusive webinar for educational counselors, high school counselors, careers advisors that are working within high schools. And the title of today's session is Earning a University of London degree in Vietnam, Scholarships and Opportunities with British University Vietnam. I am joined today by Matt Jensen. He's Head of International Recruitment at British University Vietnam, and Nung Pham. She's Officer International Student Recruitment at British University Vietnam. Plus, they have a lovely student guest. I'm going to let the panelists introduce themselves in a minute. But before we begin the session, there's a couple of housekeeping issues that I want to run through with you. So first of all, the webinar is being recorded, and a copy of that recording will be shared with all of you in a few days' time. If you hover across the bottom of your screen on Zoom, you will see the Q&A button. We encourage you to submit questions throughout the webinar, whether it's any comments that you have regarding something that you've heard, or whether it's specific questions that you have about studying in Vietnam, about the university, about the programs, admissions, etc. And Matt and Neil will be going through the questions at the end, so we will have plenty of time for that. I should also say that we will be sharing the contact details of British University Vietnam. So if any of you would like to have a follow-up conversation after the webinar, or if you want, for example, to discuss a specific student case, you will be able to do that on a one-to-one basis. So, well, without further ado, I'm delighted to pass over to Matt and Young, who will be sharing some thoughts about British University Vietnam with you. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Catalina. Good afternoon. Well, good afternoon from Vietnam. As Catalina said, different times of the day for many of us. But it's 3 p.m. here in Hanoi. So let me say welcome. We've got a really good session for you today, I would hope. So I'm the Head of International Student Recruitment at British University Vietnam. My name is Matt. I'm from London originally and studied at Leeds University in the UK quite some time ago now. And I've been in Vietnam for about a year and a half. And it's really fantastic what our university is offering. So the prospect of British education here in the region for a much affordable price. This is our key value proposition, with accessible entry requirements, accessible visa, and as the title of the webinar suggests, University of London, direction from London School of Economics degrees as well. So let me just quickly share with you the schedule for today. If we have the next slide, please, Neil. So I'm going to introduce the university and the programs, really focusing on those University of London programs that I've mentioned. Then I'll hand over to my colleague Nyung, and she'll talk you through living costs, scholarships, and the application process. And then, as Catalina said, we've got a student here today. So we've got Dito from Indonesia. He's been at the university for 5-6 months. So he'll share his experiences with you. And finally, questions at the end. So you can type your questions during the webinar, and then we'll come back at the end and do a full Q&A session. So please feel free to fire away. Okay. Next one, please, Neil. Yeah, so British University Vietnam. First thing to say is we are a university in Vietnam. So we have legal university status in Vietnam, but collaboration with both the British and the Vietnamese governments. So this is really valuable intellectual property. So for me as a recruiter to work at a place called British University Vietnam, it's a dream to promote that in the international market. The owners are actually Malaysian, so we're part of Taylor's group. So that includes Taylor's University, which is a top 250 in the world university in its own right. But our business model is quite different. So our university focuses on franchise provision of UK degrees, whereas Taylor's focus on local Malaysian degrees. And Vietnam really is an emerging study destination. So it's a space to watch. Southeast Asia generally, so many students studying here. So I think it's about 300 to 350,000 international students currently in the region. And students want better value for money nowadays. So we see that the current generation is very pragmatic. It's them telling their parents, I don't want to go to the UK and spend $150,000 or £120,000 on a degree if I'm not guaranteed a job and a good future prospect. So I think it's really student-led now that we see a lot of students, particularly in this region, that want quality education, but they want this kind of return on investment, which is a job and the skills to succeed in the labour market and the job that they get. And the geographical proximity, cultural proximity, these are really important factors. So we're seeing a lot of students, not just in Southeast Asia, but in Asia generally, that are really interested in studying in, let's say, Malaysia and Singapore. They've been really popular destinations. And now I think Vietnam, Indonesia, these are the next locations to really watch. And of course, at our university, everything is in English. So all of the signage on the campus is in English. Every interaction is going to be in English. And of course, the curriculum, because it is franchise UK provision, that's 100% in English language, but it's a British curriculum and qualification that the students will get when they finish. So that's really, really important. Everything is taught at our campus. So that's in a place called Eco Park, which is kind of in the Hanoi metropolitan area. So Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, in the north of the country. Ho Chi Minh, the biggest city in the country in the south, is the commercial, financial capital. Hanoi is very much the cultural, political capital, so the legal capital of the country. So we're close to there. If you've ever visited Vietnam, you'll know, I can see actually as one of our attendees definitely is Vietnamese from the name. Hanoi Old Quarter, full of culture. So that is really fascinating place to visit. So it's a living museum. So if students want to go and experience real Vietnamese culture and street foods, they are just 30 minutes away from the Hanoi Old Quarter. But when they need a space to study, this Eco Park campus is perfect. So it's extremely safe, it's calm, it's serene. The air is fresh, and that the campus that we have is absolutely world class. We're going to show you a short video very shortly as well to bring you there, because we can't invite you all here today. But by the way, Catalina did mention to get in touch. Do get in touch and come and visit us. You're all welcome. Everybody that teaches here is internationally qualified. So we're about 80% non-Vietnamese, our faculty, and 65% PhD holders. But everybody that teaches at the university, whether they're Vietnamese or international, has got a master's or PhD from outside of Vietnam. So it's really important that the students are getting a real British education, not just a piece of paper that says that it's British, but a holistic education experience. Vietnam, our student Dita will talk more about his experience there. So I'll let him talk about the reasons that he's chosen Vietnam. But what you would find, depending on where your school is, so there's countries now where it's really difficult to get to the UK, or it's difficult to get to Canada, US, Australia. So what you'll find is Vietnam is extremely welcoming. So we have one of the most friendly visa policies anywhere in the world. I've been here for a year and a half. We've had 100% approval of the visas so far. And of course, because we're offering UK curriculum, there's really good opportunity for students to transfer to the UK. So it can be a great stepping stone to the UK and assure that UK visa for your students that might find it more difficult depending on what their nationality is if they applied straight for a university in the UK. So I'll come back to that later, but the key point is it's very accessible to study at our university and to study in Vietnam. And then all of this is underpinned by academic quality. So we have the QS 5-star status. Anybody who's familiar with the UK system will see we've also got the QAA recognition there. So that's UK Quality Assurance Agency. We were the first university, and I believe the only university in Vietnam to have both of those, QS 5-star and QAA recognition. And there's only a handful of institutions outside of the UK that have that QAA recognition. And of course, University of London degrees, which I'm going to come back to quite shortly. Neil, next one, please. So, few shots of the campus. This is located in Eco Park, where I've mentioned the campus was phase 1 started construction in 2018. Phase 2 was completed in last year in 2025, and there's plans for a third phase to be completed by 2030. At the moment, we have about 5,000 student capacity, and depending on whether we have on-campus accommodation or focus strictly on teaching facilities, could be somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 capacity by the time we complete the third phase. We're going to show you a short video now so you can see what it's like to study or be at BUV. Okay, thank you, Neil. The video was a bit stuttery from my side, so I don't know how the attendees have experienced that. Hopefully it came out okay. The Wi-Fi is really good on campus, so I've got a full signal, so it's certainly not that. But if you didn't see the video properly, we'll share it. Okay, great. It looks like it has worked fine for everybody else. So I saw a few questions already or comments already. So John was asking about visits for counsellors. John, let's definitely keep in touch and discuss that. There's more than 20 people here, so I'm not sure if I have the budget to invite everybody. But let's have a discussion. I'm not ruling anything out at the moment, but we'll share contact details. There was another comment asking about slides. Slides and recording you will get after the webinar. Okay, so a bit of what our students say. I'm not going to read through all of these. They're quite text heavy, but you can go to this website called Edu Opinions, which is an independent student reviews site, and you'll find what the students have said there. So you see at the moment we've got a 4.4 star rating from more than 40 reviews. The majority of those are international students. So go and have a look, see where our students are from, and read what they're saying about the UV. It's really, really positive. Yeah. Next one, please, Neil. So we'll focus today on University of London programs, but we do work with other UK partner universities. So as I said, this is what we call franchise delivery. For those of you that are not familiar with that model, it means that we're literally taking an off-the-shelf degree program that's designed by one of these universities and indeed taught at these universities. And we're offering that exact same program as it is designed in Vietnam. But of course, the campus is ours. Teachers are employed by us. So it's delivered by us 100%. But the content of that program is designed in the UK, and the certificate that the students get is as if they'd studied in the UK. So I think these are important distinctions to make. You can see that we have 3 different subject areas. So business is our biggest school, and the University of London programs sit within the business school. A lot of our computing programs in collaboration with Stirling University in Scotland. And then our new partner this year is Manchester Metropolitan University. So we offer business programs and creative programs through Manchester Metropolitan University. So different price levels and entry requirements. But the one we really want to focus on today is the University of London and LSE programs. So we believe that this is an outstanding option for students, particularly in Asia, as I've said, who might not be able to get to the UK for probably 3 reasons. So reason 1 would be financial. It costs a lot to get to the UK, not just tuition fee. So you can see how much cheaper we are, less than half of what it would be to study an LSE program in the UK. And that's before we factor in living costs. I'm from London. It's an extremely expensive city to live in. So financial is one. The visa that I've already alluded to is of course another one. And the third one is entry requirement. So you can imagine to get in, you'll know to get into LSE, maybe it's even 3 A's, A stars, 40 plus in IB. It's not enough always. It's just so competitive to get there. So what we're offering is an LSE degree here in Southeast Asia, and students could access that with just having 3 B's or 28 in IB. So it's a fantastic option for many that might not otherwise be able to get an LSE degree. So I actually studied maths and economics. So LSE was my dream university. In the end, I ended up at Leeds, which turned out great. I had a really good time there. But I couldn't make it to LSE. It's very, very competitive to get into, but I know just how strong that degree is. So we tried to offer everyone an international experience as well. So not just international in you're an international student living in Vietnam, but we do want our students to experience the UK as well. So anybody that studies this LSE program can benefit from doing the summer school program at LSE as well. Usually that would be between years 2 and 3. I mentioned the Manchester Metropolitan programs. So this is more affordable, and the entry requirements can be more flexible, and the program would be less intensive. So the LSE programs are really difficult, we have to say. So even if a student can be admitted with 28 in IB or 3Bs in A level, these are hard programs. They're not for the faint-hearted. So there's a lot of mathematics, there's pure maths, there's statistics, there's micro and macroeconomics, econometrics. It's even hard to say that word, never mind to study. And it's 100% exam based. So it's a really, really tough curriculum. But at the end, of course, the students are going to get that LSE certificate that is going to open doors for them worldwide. So the Manchester Metropolitan programs, let's say they're a bit softer academically, perhaps more vocational. You can see here that we've got banking and finance, but we've also got digital business and technology. So a business IT hybrid program. And then with this program, we offer 2+1 options. So any students that want to finish their degree in Manchester, that option is 100% available to them. Remember what I said earlier about franchise delivery. So the programs that we're offering in Vietnam are exactly the same as what students in Manchester are studying. So as long as the students passed their first 2 years here at British University Vietnam, they can transfer to Manchester for year 3. And I'll explain why that can be a very attractive option to students other than just having a year in the UK slightly later. And a few more programs to share. So we have computing, as I mentioned, with Sterling, again with a 2+1 option. So data science and AI and software engineering. And then 2 more from Manchester Metropolitan, this time in the creative space. So we have illustration and animation and graphic design. Of course, again, with the 2+1 option. Yeah, new next one. And a few more what we call 1+2, 2+1. So I hope I'm not using jargon that anybody is unfamiliar with, but when we say 1+2, just to quickly unpack that in case, we mean 1 year in Vietnam and then 2 years in the UK, and 2+1, 2 years in Vietnam, 1 year in the UK. So this is a transfer. So a student starts the degree program with us, but they actually exit after year 1 or year 2, apply for a UK visa, and enroll to become a student of one of these universities. So their credit is counted for the time that they've spent studying with us, but actually their final degree certificate will no longer incorporate their studies with us. It will, in terms of the credits that are counted, but they're going to get a certificate from one of the universities that you can see on the screen. So there's just some other options that I wanted to share with you, because we've really got some top-notch UK universities that we have formal agreements with. So your students starting the programs that you can see on the left with us can progress to one of the universities that you see on the right. So for example, a finance and economics student with us can go to Liverpool, subject to passing years 1 and 2 and certain grades. Normally it would be a 2-2 for them to transfer. And same for bachelor to masters. So any student that completes our international business management program, they can progress to Bristol University, top 50 in the world, or to Southampton, top 100 in the world. And these are superb Russell Group universities. Anybody who has recommended students to the UK, every counsellor in this webinar knows these universities. Same with software engineering. So we work with Southampton again and University of Exeter. So really, really nice options for students to progress to the UK. Next slide, please, Neil. So before I talk about employability, just to say why that 1 year in the UK might be so important. If a student has their sights set on living in the UK, then spending 1 year in the UK is a way to get what's called a graduate visa at the moment. So after 1 year's study in the UK, a student has 18 months to pursue graduate work. So it's just a job seeker's visa. And after the 18 months, once they've secured work, of course, they can have a work permit, after X amount of time, they can secure residency, and after Y amount of time, they can have a British passport effectively. So that all starts from that 1 year of studying in the UK. So this is one of the reasons that we present this as an option. As I said, it's great to have 1 year studying in the UK. It's even better to have a degree from one of these Russell Group universities, although you can get a degree from LSE at British University Vietnam, which is as high ranked as all of those universities, except for Bristol. They're both around the 50 mark. So of course that's a fantastic certificate to have. But then for long-term prospects to stay in the UK, this is really attractive. We know for students, for Asian students, it can be really attractive. There's many that will have their sights set on living in the UK. People who've gone the opposite direction to me, or who will go the opposite direction to the direction I've gone in. I've gone west to east. For somebody from the east, it can be very attractive to live in the west. So now to employability. So yeah, this also links to employability, what I'm saying. So I would think most of your students won't be thinking about Vietnam as a long-term destination to settle down in, except for maybe the counsellors that work for schools in Southeast Asia, where the culture's somewhat similar, and there's neighboring countries where Vietnam is economically much stronger. So it can be a really attractive prospect for students in neighboring countries to want to graduate and settle down in Vietnam. Majority of students, they'll be looking for that route to the UK or to return to their home countries with a UK degree and to open doors for them. So the point is that our university embeds employability and internships into everything that we do. So every program has an internship component. There's, of course, consideration that goes into the curriculum. As I said, it's franchise delivery. So we take those programs that are designed in the UK, but of course, these are designed to develop soft skills and employability skills. And there's fantastic resource here at our university to help students get jobs, which is rare in Asia. So this is still a developing area. So Singaporean universities, there's some world-class universities in the top 20 in the world. Of course, they're going to have really strong employability services. But ditto, our student who's going to talk shortly, he went to the top university in Indonesia, and he's told me that the support services here at British University Vietnam are another level to what you could find anywhere in his country. So this is the point to help develop career-ready graduates and give them all of this support throughout their studies in terms of services, but also skill development as well, and opportunities to do internships. Yes, so I believe that is my first section, and I'm going to hand over to Nyung now and just take a read of any questions and then come back a little bit later. Thank you very much. Over to you, Nyung.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This is Nyom from British University Vietnam. I'm working as a consultation for international students to our university. So I will go through with you the tuition fee at our university, then how to apply, and then the entry requirements for international students. So at BUV, our tuition fee is really affordable. It's only from 8,500 to 17,500 USD for 1 year. Usually the average is around 14,000 USD per year. 17,500 is for the UOL, University of London programs. And this is before scholarship. We have really special scholarship package for international students as well, which I will mention later. About the living cost in Vietnam is really, really affordable in our country, which Dito, our Indonesian student, will share with you more in a perspective of an international student here. But I can say that 1 month, if you have 500 USD, you can have really comfortable life in Vietnam. close to our campus with very spacious apartment, condo, and then you can also eat out with that budget. Yeah. And let's come to the international scholarship for students. So we do have 25, 50, 75, and 100% scholarship for international students. And to be eligible for the 50, 75, or 100% scholarship, we spend these slots for students from ASEAN, Indian, Sri Lankan, and Nepalese students, while the rest of the country, they are eligible for the 25% scholarship. To apply for the scholarship, it's really easy. We don't require any interview. We don't require any assignment. Students, they only need to prepare one motivation letter. We have a template, and of course, we can share with all of our counselors here after this webinar that with 4 questions about academic achievements, why they want to study in Vietnam with VUV, why they choose to study the program, and then what they're gonna do to support VUV to promote our brand overseas as a student ambassador. So as long as students they have a proper preparation for the scholarship motivation letter, and of course, you guys as a counselors, you can give students some feedback on the scholarship motivation letter. They can apply and they can get the scholarship easily. And our application deadline for the scholarship is 31st of July. So we still have around 3 to 4 months until then. And if you need any support in the scholarship application for students, feel free to reach out to Matt or me. We're always here to support you and your students. Yep. And in terms of the entry requirements, so to have direct entry into any BSc or BA programs at PUV, we usually require A-level 3B, IB 28 above, foundation 60% above. For students from India, as long as you have the year 12, HSC 75% above. For students from Sri Lanka, it will be A-level 3B. Yeah, as long as you have one of these qualifications with IELTS 6.0 or equivalent, you will have direct entry to the bachelor programs. But in case your student for short, no worries, we have the 6-week pathway solution for your students. In terms of the student from the public school, which follow the state or national curriculum, it means only 12 years of school. Yeah. If they have the IELTS 6.0, they will go through the 6-week pathway first, or they go through the IFP first, and then they can enter to the bachelor degree. So we always have an option for all of the students. Yeah, and then how to apply. Every year, BUV will have 2 main intakes. The main one is in September 2026, and then the second one is in the January 20. And then the second one is January. How to apply? If your student is interested in studying Vietnam with BUV, you can help me collect the student documents, or student, they can collect the documents. They can email directly to BUV. The documents including the transcript and then the English proficiency certificate. They send to me. I can help them check the entry eligibility for free. And then I will provide the feedback within 2 working days. After your student have the confirmation about BUV on the entry acceptance, they can submit the application and they will receive the offer letter right away. Yeah, and that's all from me. So now let's hear from our student, Lito.
Okay, thank you, New. So greetings, everyone. Allow me to introduce myself one more time. My name is Tito. I'm from Indonesia. As Matt previously introduced me, I graduated from Universitas Indonesia with a degree in psychology back in 2020. And currently, I'm enrolled in the MBA program at BUV. So later on, when I graduate, I will receive the degree from University of Staffordshire. Before I decided to continue my study at BUV, I've been working for around 5 years in the HR industry, mainly in recruitment, HRBP, as well as learning and development. And it's also one of the main reasons why I decided to study MBA is because previously I've been creating learning programs for company executives. And I think it would be wise for me if I have a deep understanding about the whole business process. Okay, next slide. So right now, as Matt also introduced me, that I've been living in Vietnam for around 4 to 5 months. And yeah, the reasons why I chose Vietnam as the place for me to study is because number one, yeah, we probably all know that Vietnam has undergone a exponential rate of growth, economic growth lately. Just last year, the GDP grew for 8%, and not to mention the massive influx of foreign direct investments into the country, which means there will be more and more global business that will open maybe their manufacturing facilities here in Vietnam, which is good for someone who's planning to study about business, because therefore we got a closer access to the industry. And then, generally speaking, Southeast Asian countries are beautiful. We have a lot of beautiful landscapes in even my country, Indonesia, as well. But Vietnam is quite unique because, yeah, BUV is located in Hanoi, and technically Vietnam considered as the only Southeast Asian countries with 4 seasons. So for someone who's coming from the Western hemisphere of the world, they wouldn't find it very difficult to adapt with the climate here in Vietnam. And for someone like me who grew up in a tropical country, it's really nice to be able to experience cold weather during the end of the year. And as you have previously mentioned as well, that the cost of living here is relatively affordable. With just around 500 US dollars per month, you can already gain access to a very comfortable living space. You can find healthy and delicious meal everywhere, readily accessible. And the price for groceries, I could say it's even cheaper than what I have to pay in Jakarta. And yeah, maybe you all know Vietnam is not as it's not as easy. For example, if you go to the Philippines, most of the people there probably speak English. It's not the case here in Vietnam, honestly speaking. But I didn't find it difficult to adapt here because Vietnamese people, they are very great. They are very open, even though you will find moments where it's difficult for you to communicate, but they will try to help you in any other ways, maybe using the translator, or they will use sign language, for example, but they will provide the help that you need as a foreigner. And then, yeah, it's safe and it's open, very open to international students. The visa process is very smooth, it's easy. They don't require international students to prove any financial condition. And also, yeah, when I say it's safe, in a sense that there won't be any sudden change in the policy that might affect the student visa here. So as an international student here, I can definitely feel more safe and certain about my stay here in Vietnam. And also, its location is quite strategic as well. It's easy if you want to travel to other Southeast Asian countries, or even if you want to visit For example, like China, the distance is not that far. Okay, next slide. And the next question is, why did I choose BUV as the place for my master's degree? So yeah, Matt mentioned before that Universitas Indonesia, my undergraduate alma mater, it's actually not one of the best university in Indonesia. It's the best university in Indonesia. So it's only natural that I will try to look a university that can provide at least the same rate or even greater rate of education quality. And yeah, as you can see, BUV is currently ranked number 43 in the MBA ranking in Asia, which is already ahead of some of the best business schools in Indonesia. And then later on, I will receive the degree from University of Staffordshire, but it's not just that they are offering degree from UK universities, but they also provide UK universities level of quality because they have a reputation to maintain, obviously. So at BUV, most of the lecturers here are not only have an extensive experience in the academic world, but they also came from professional backgrounds. So that's what's made me interested in enrolling for the MBA program, because I know that the lecturers, they're not just talking about theories, but they have been experiencing all the stuff that they taught us in class. What they are sharing are the current best practices in the industry. And BUV have BUV brands is an international university, means it really have a pride in its international identity. So therefore I can meet with a lot of other international students here as well. And the support that BUV provide for international students have been tremendous from the beginning. The moment I got here, I was helped to find my accommodations, and then I even got picked up from the airport, which is the kind of service that later prospect students can also access if they wish to. And also BUV is situated in a very comfortable and safe living area called Eco Park. And Eco Park also have a very big foreigners or expatriates communities around here. So other than the activities that students can participate at the campus, there are also plenty of activities that they can participate in around Eco Park area. And the last most interesting thing Matt also mentioned about this is that BUV have their own dedicated corporate and industry engagement department. So currently BUV is growing their networks with international companies, with big businesses in Vietnam, in order for them to help the students here to receive internship opportunities or even work placement for the graduates, which is great, because even when I was studying at Universitas Indonesia, the career center, they didn't provide us with that kind of support. So they just posted about job opportunities, and later we will still need to apply for ourselves. But here, it's one of the important things that the university will take care for the students by making sure that the students here have bigger opportunities to gain access to real life experience. So yeah, I think what BUB been doing in the Southeast Asian education market is really great, especially for someone like me, who didn't come from a very wealthy family. Obviously, studying in the UK or in the Europe would be quite costly for me. And the support that BUV do to international students has been really great. They are making UK level education more accessible for us Southeast Asian students and for students in general. Okay, so if you guys have any questions that you would like to know more, maybe about the university or about life in Vietnam, we'll be more than happy to share with you.
Thank you, Ditto. And thank you, everyone. So we're going to go now to Q&A. I can see that there are some questions please ask as many questions as you can. We're running ahead of schedule, so I can see at least 5 here. But if anybody else has any, now's the time to ask, because I think we've plenty of time to answer. So go ahead. You know what they say, there's no stupid question, especially from a THE counsellor. There can only be good questions. Young, do you want to tell us, read the first question for
Sure.
us?
Yeah, sure. I think we already answered John's question about the sponsor counselor apply to visit campus. Okay,
Yeah.
let's come to Susan question. How about 28 points from IB course rather than full IB diploma?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yep.
I would think 20 points IB courses should be absolutely fine. What we would ask is for you to send us the transcript. I guess this is for a student that hasn't graduated yet, so it's probably somebody who's finishing IB and will get results this July. So Susan, we can wait till July and then do the analysis there. And it's very quick to get the visa for Vietnam. Or if you have a previous case from 2025 or earlier years, and you have a sample transcript, that would be really helpful if you could send through to us. And we can give you formal feedback on that. But I would say 28 points IB courses should be fine for all of the programs that we've offered. And this is probably going to be one of the next questions about English language proficiencies, but there are exemptions for IB students with English language as well. Yeah, thanks for the question, Susan.
Yep. Yeah, and then the next question is also about the English IB or AP if student have score 4 or 5.
Yeah, that was the question that I almost answered. So this is anonymous attendee, but thank you for the question. So yeah, usually a higher level 4 or standard level 5 is okay. AP English, not so familiar with AP exemptions, but again, the same thing. If you have any sample certificates that you want us to look at on a case-by-case basis, please do get in touch. I believe that Catalina will be sending a follow-up after the webinar, so you get the recording. We'll share the slides and we'll share our contact details as well. So if you want us to look into these nuances further, we can give you formal feedback. Thank you.
Okay, so next we come to Fusions with the question about if African students are eligible for all kinds of scholarships.
The excellent question. Today, we have positioned this webinar with the timing of it as well, more towards Asia. But just going from the names of the counsellors, I can see there's people here from all over the world. So that's really great to see. We do have at least one student from West Africa. So we have a really lovely student called Josh, who was doing an internship with Nyung and I as well before. So we got to know him very well. And Josh is from Nigeria. So we have African students at BV, and we have African students quite a lot in Vietnam, I have to say, quite a lot at state universities that are more affordable than BV. We offer 25% scholarships to all African students. So we have we support the ASEAN students because Vietnam is an ASEAN member with higher level scholarships. So in that case, 50, 75, 100%. And we also support Indian, Sri Lankan and Nepali students, as Nyung said, with those high level scholarships. For everybody else in the world, every other international student, there is still full possibility of a 25% scholarship as well. Yeah. And the next question, Nyung, is about scholarships as well, right?
Yeah, for 1 year or is for all years, the scholarship?
Yeah, really, I have the pleasure to confirm that the scholarships are for the full degree. So what Nyung has shared earlier is tuition fee waivers valid for the full degree. What we say is that students should pass the academic year at first attempt. And Nyung described very well what the application process is to receive a scholarship and to attain a higher level of scholarship. So what the criteria are. We do expect students to write about what they will do. Neil mentioned to be an ambassador for the university. So we do expect the students to stick to what they've said they would do. We don't enforce it in a particularly nasty or strong way, but we do have a session for international students when they arrive. We also do that so they can connect with other international students, and they should brainstorm there a little bit more about what they want to do as an international ambassador for the university. So they're expected to do this. Really, everybody's going to get a scholarship that will last for the full duration of their degree, provided they pass at first attempt, the year at first attempt. And we'll give them just a gentle nudge if they've committed to doing some kind of ambassador initiative and they haven't come good on that later. Yeah. Do you want to share anything about scholarships? You're a scholarship student as well.
Well,
you're on a 50% scholarship, I believe.
I mean, yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's a great opportunity, and the university, they don't demand anything. Yeah, like they don't enforce it for us. So mostly I'm quite active on LinkedIn. So yeah, mostly from time to time I would just write something about my experience here as a student. And I think that's already considered as an ambassador activity, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It could be a range of different things. It can be direct promotion in your community or to your network, but it can also be doing an event, doing a webinar, supporting the university through doing a webinar. That's definitely an ambassador initiative. Yeah. Okay, Neil, next question if there is.
Yeah. Next question is from Susan. She's asking about accommodation guarantee in UK if student do the transfer to UK in U2.
Yeah.
Or student guarantee accommodation if they go there?
Yeah, thank you, Susan. Thanks for asking the questions as well. So it's great to have your participation and keep them coming, because we've got at least 8 minutes that we want to carry on answering questions for. Yes, difficult to get accommodation in the UK, isn't it? So I know in Manchester and London in particular, there's a real shortage of supply. So what I believe is that our university has partnerships with these universities that I've shared with you. So yes, our students would have a chance of securing accommodation at Manchester if they were to transfer to Manchester. Generally, we would. So you've said year 2, Susan. Generally, we would. That's fine with us if the student wants to just do 1 year at BUB and then go in year 2. Generally, we would encourage to go in year 3 if saving money is an important consideration to the student, but they're certainly able to pursue that option. And we're a partner university of Manchester Metropolitan, so they would be able to secure it. Yeah. Thank you, Susan. Sorry, you're muted.
Yep. Next is an interesting question from Asa. You said that the degree student will get is from UK, LSE or Manchester. So this is for all students, or even though they don't transfer to UK? And what is the advantage of doing the transfer? Interesting.
Yeah, that is a great question. So it gives us a good chance to clarify some things as well. So thank you, Isha, for the question. So a student will get a degree from London School of Economics or Manchester Metropolitan, depending on what program they study. Right. So we go back to the slides earlier. You can check the recording or check the slides that we circulate after to remind yourself of which are which. Yes, the students don't have to transfer to the UK. In fact, 99% of our students don't currently. So it's something that we present that we believe is going to be very attractive, and it often is to a 17, 18-year-old and to their families. In the end, what happens in most cases is the students, they fall in love with Vietnam. Sometimes they fall in love. We have just found students that have found partners here and they've decided to stay. And in other instances, they just want to stay because they're enjoying it here and finish their program and course. So it's quite rare that students, although we present it as a really attractive option, very few that actually take advantage of this. So yes, really important message, Isha, is every student that stays at British University Vietnam is already going to get that UK certificate for the program that they're enrolled in. It's really, really important. The next part to this question is about the advantage of the transfer options, like the 2+1 or the 1+2. So I've commented on this, but I will reiterate for clarification. So for me, the first big advantage is spending a year in the UK. So if we're thinking about students in Asia, or we've just discussed a student in Africa, it will be a great experience for them to study in Vietnam if they're not from Vietnam, right? But it will be an equally special experience for them to study in the UK. So that year is about soft skill development. It's about seeing what British culture is like firsthand. So I think that in itself is really invaluable. But the other big part is a lot of students that might choose our university would want to go to the UK, but they can't. So this is something else that I talked about. They can't afford 3 years of tuition in the UK, or they get a visa rejected, or they've only got 28 in IB or 3 Bs. So our university is providing a pathway for them to get there. People move at different paces. I certainly did. I would say that I'm more academic after graduating from university. So I wish I knew when I was 22 what I do now. But it's different for everybody, right? So a student who gets 28 in IB can still go on to be a top performer by the time they get to university. So we're giving that opportunity to people that a lot of UK universities can't, certainly not LSE, because it's oversubscribed to. So the big advantage is getting into UK education because the entry requirements are lower and that visa requirements low. So it really depends. I don't know where the counsellors are from today, so I don't want to guess. And I was thinking of asking people to say which school they represent when they type questions and where they're from. It's the end of the session now, so we won't do it. So I don't know where you're from, Isha. But of course, for students from certain countries, the visa rejection for the UK is really high. It's difficult just to get a UK visa nowadays. So if a student has done 1 year or 2 years in Vietnam studying a UK curriculum, that gives them a really, really good opportunity of having a visa approved. I can't speak on behalf of the Home Office in the UK. I don't know how they do that analysis, but I would think to see the transcripts for 2 years that's showing a student is passing a program and having paid tuition fees in Vietnam at a British university for 2 years, that seems a safer bet to the UK immigration than somebody that comes straight from high school and doesn't have a higher education track record. So there's really a lot of advantages. It's accessibility in terms of visa and admission, and also there's cost benefits. And then the really last one, sorry I'm giving such a long answer, but the last one is that 1 year in the UK that I mentioned. So if you spend 1 year in the UK and you would like to live in the UK in the future, and let's be honest, Ditto talked really well about the employment opportunities in Vietnam and how the economy is growing, but he also mentioned that people don't yet speak English on the level that, of course, they might speak in the Philippines, for example. That is changing rapidly in Vietnam, by the way. But to get a job for a multinational company and do your business in English, there's limited options still in Vietnam. So for the best career prospects, of course, the salaries are going to be much higher in the UK than they are in Vietnam. That is a great reason to spend 1 year in the UK, because then you can have that 18-month job seekers visa, and then you can apply for a job in the UK, get a work permit, like I said, get residency, get a passport. Okay, I think I spoke a bit too much, so I'm going to finish there. Any other questions?
I think that's all questions we have until now.
Yeah, I've read the replies, so thank you. Isha is from India. It's great. So many of your students could be interested in benefiting from that long-term migration prospect. And Susan is from French International School, Hong Kong. Thank you for sharing and participating. So thanks to Dito. Thank you to Nyong. Thanks to everyone for joining. Catalina, I'll hand back to you for the last words.
Thank you so much, Mats, and what a fabulously informative session that we had. Loads of questions. As we said before, we will be sharing all the contact details so that you can continue the conversation with British University Vietnam. You can have a chat about anything else that you want to know, whether there is more information about your specific student cases or, entry requirements, as we were talking about a moment ago. So all of that will be shared with you, as well as a recording of this session so that you can look back at any parts that you want to relook at. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is coming to the end of our time here. So thanks again to you, Matt, for all your time with us this afternoon. And it remains for us to say have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Catalina. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Bye.
See you.
Thank you.
Everyone.